I can pretty much guarantee that everyone watching this is guilty of at least a couple of these bad saxophone habits. We all have bad habits that are holding us back from becoming better versions of ourselves, and a significant portion of our practice time should be devoted to eliminating those bad habits while building good ones. Here's a list of the 7 most common bad habits I see in saxophone players, myself included, and how we can fix them. Let me know which ones you're guilty of in the comments, and together, let's work on correcting some of these this year. Number 1 is biting down too hard. And this one is almost universal. Even very experienced players will bite too hard on the reed from time to time in certain situations. When we bite down too hard on the reed, our sound gets all pinched. The pitch goes really sharp. We're more prone to squeaking, and our lowest and highest notes become a lot more difficult to get out clearly. Here's the thing. We don't need to put a ton of pressure on the reed. Think of your lower lip as a stabilizing cushion that's meant to allow the reed to vibrate as freely as possible while maintaining a solid sound and good intonation. We want to aim for the least amount of pressure necessary to maintain that good sound. As you relax your embouchure and put less pressure, the sound is going to get rounder, less pinched, and the pitch will go down, so you will probably want to push your mouthpiece in further to compensate as you correct this biting habit. Now, why do we bite down so hard? There are a few reasons. Number 1 is a tired embouchure. Maintaining the correct amount of pressure on the reed does require a certain amount of strength in our facial muscles. These get developed through time spent practicing. Long tones can be very effective at developing that strength. If our muscles are weak, they end up tiring out quickly, and we respond by biting down even harder, and the whole thing just spirals out of control. Number 2 is we're playing on too hard of a setup. The harder your reed is, the more pressure you're going to have to apply to maintain that sound, which is going to tire you out faster. An easy to play setup with relatively soft reeds is going to help you break that biting habit. And the third reason we bite is stress and tension. When we play with physical tension because we're nervous or just generally tense, it usually results in biting, and that brings us to our second bad saxophone habit, which is tension. Removing tension from your body when playing the saxophone, or really any instrument, is a constant battle and something we all need to work on. This tension can result in a poor sound through biting down too hard on the reed, but it can also cause a whole bunch of other issues, not least of which is physical injury. It is so important to learn to play the saxophone with very relaxed hands, fingers, wrists, shoulders, neck, just about everything else. Too much tension in your body when playing the saxophone can result in repetitive strain injury, carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis, and more. Again, I use long tone practice to focus on releasing any tension I might have in my body. Just playing one note at a time allows me to become more aware of the areas of my body that need to be relaxed. This is a great way to develop a good habit and then carry it over to other areas of your playing. Besides messing with your sound and physical health, that tension can also wreak havoc with your rhythm, which brings us to bad habit number 3, rushing. As you can see, a lot of these bad habits are connected, and if we're not careful, we can end up with a chain reaction of problems. Rushing is when you play your rhythms faster than the pulse of the music. It's when you get ahead of the beat. This is also extremely common. The first step to correcting any of these bad habits is becoming aware that you're doing it. Everybody rushes the rhythm sometimes. What you got to do is listen very carefully to yourself and the other musicians and make sure that your rhythms are syncing up with the pulse of the music. Be aware that there's a natural tendency to rush, and you'll likely need to pull back a bit. The slower the tempo, the more exposed you'll be. At very fast tempos, the tendency can be to drag, which means you're playing your rhythms slower than the pulse of the music. So that's another bad habit to look out for and try to correct in your practice sessions. The good habit of practicing with a metronome goes a long way towards correcting the bad habit of poor rhythm. Number 4 is poor finger position. When we're playing relaxed, our fingertips should rest lightly on the key touches in a naturally curved position. Problem is, once the music starts and we have to play all the right notes and rhythms and we're worried about messing up, the first thing to go out the window is that good finger position. Again, I find the practice of long tones to be extremely helpful in building the good habit of keeping relaxed fingers in contact with the keys, even when you're not using them. When playing a long tone on middle C, for example, I've only got the one finger down, but I'm practicing keeping all my other fingers relaxed and in their ideal position while I'm playing that one note. The trick is to carry that good habit over to everything else you play. And the even harder trick is to maintain that good habit when the music gets difficult and when you're under the stress of performances. These first 4 bad habits are all related to tension. You can work on building good habits for all of these things at the same time. The key is to constantly remind yourself to stay relaxed. Practicing in front of a mirror can be extremely helpful because you can see exactly where the tension is in your body. That tension is something that's always going to want to creep back into your playing, so you have to be vigilant. Number 5 is thinking that our gear is the problem. Now, we've all been guilty of this at one time or another. Things aren't going well on the saxophone, and we blame our equipment. Sorry, guys. I got a terrible read today. I'm really sorry. Sticky keys. Oh. Sorry, guys. My horn is leaking. Sorry, my Mark 6 is in the shop. Oh, sorry, I'm sucking so much today. It's my ligature. Now, if you watch this channel, you know I'm really into gear, and I believe that it's very important that your equipment is working for you. But once you've got a decent saxophone and a decent mouthpiece and a decent reed, the rest is up to you. Yes, you can get little boosts from upgrading certain things, but the beautiful sound and technique you're looking for, that only comes with putting time in on the saxophone. End of story. If you find yourself thinking that you can't sound good until you have that holy grail Mark 6 5-digit serial number original lacquer American engraved saxophone with the original vintage New York Meyer or Autolink slant signature mouthpiece and the reeds that were hidden away since the 1970s, then you, my friend, need to spend more time in the shed with the setup you've already got. Unless, of course, you manage to find one of the original ultra rare 3-band Brillhart ligatures, then you don't even need to practice because those things play themselves. And that leads us to bad habit number 6, not taking good care of your instrument. When was the last time you had your saxophone looked at by a good repair technician? For most of you watching, it's been too long. All saxophones go out of adjustment slowly over time. There are tons of moving mechanical parts and materials that wear out. But most saxophone players don't ever visit a repair technician until their saxophone just stops working. Hello? Yeah, my saxophone just stopped working and I have a concert tomorrow. Can you fix it, like right now? For most people, an annual checkup will keep you out of trouble. It's much more fun to play on an instrument that's in top working condition, and you get a lot more done in the practice room. You can also count on your instrument working correctly on those concerts. Those of you who play a lot should probably see your technician once every 6 months. Bad habit number 7 is not listening to enough music. As our world becomes more and more filled with distractions, it seems we're spending less and less time just listening to music. In the old days before the internet, just listening to music was a very common activity. And we used to say things like, hey, do you want to come over and listen to this new record I got? And then we would do that just for fun. In the days before Netflix, going out to hear live music was something we would regularly do for fun as well. These days, it's harder and harder to break through all the distractions and just enjoy the experience of hearing music. I'm definitely guilty of this one, but my solution for correcting it is carving out some time every day just for listening to music, and that's going to mean less scrolling social media, surfing the internet, and streaming TV. Check your local listings for concerts and live performances in your area. Get tickets, mark your calendar, and go hear the shows. You'll be so glad you did. Now, when it comes to correcting bad habits on the saxophone, so much of the work we need to do is in our head. Believe it or not, just thinking positive thoughts about the way we practice and perform can go a very long way towards building those good habits that we want. So watch this video next for 10 things you can say to yourself that will actually help you improve just by repeating them.